Most idle RPGs ask you to sit there and wait. Sword X Staff does something a little different. It throws you into a massive world to explore while still letting you make progress when you're offline. So, is this one actually worth your time, or is it just another AFK game with a fancy trailer? And hey, if you're always looking for the next great idle RPG, hit that like button and subscribe. We're constantly digging through these games so you don't end up sacrificing your storage space to something you'll uninstall in 2 days. Sword X Staff takes place in the world of Kanstein, but honestly, the story isn't the main attraction here. The real focus is how the game mixes exploration, strategy, and idle progression together. Unlike a lot of idle RPGs, where your entire experience revolves around menus, Sword X Staff gives you a large world map filled with different regions to visit. Each area has its own enemies, treasures, companions, and secrets. So even though it's technically an idle game, there's a bigger sense of adventure than usual. Combat revolves around a warrior and mage dual class system. From there, things open up quite a bit. The game offers more than 200 skills, and you're free to mix and match them however you want. You can experiment with elemental setups, tweak skill orders, and build characters around your own playstyle, instead of blindly copying one meta build. That's probably one of the game's strongest points. It looks like the developers want players to experiment, rather than follow one correct answer. Battles themselves are mostly automated, but your team isn't just standing there exchanging numbers. Characters move around, chase enemies, reposition themselves, and trigger ultimate skills automatically. It gives fights more life compared to some idle games where everyone just attacks in place. That said, auto battle is still auto battle. If you're the type of player who wants full manual control and action combat, this probably won't scratch that itch. A lot of the strategy comes from preparing your builds rather than actively playing during fights. Progression is built around low-maintenance growth. Resources continue piling up while you're offline. Your characters keep getting stronger, and you can come back later to collect rewards. There's even a traveling merchant that may show up with rare items while you're away. For busy players, that's great news. You don't have to spend hours grinding every day just to stay relevant. On the other hand, players who enjoy constant hands-on farming may find the progression loop a bit too passive. Idle systems are convenient, but they can also make the experience feel repetitive over time if the content doesn't keep expanding. Customization also deserves a mention. The game gives players plenty of options to create unique avatars, instead of everyone looking identical. It's mostly cosmetic, but it's nice to see some personality in a genre where character creation is often an afterthought. One thing that's still hard to judge right now is the long-term endgame. Skill combinations and build varieties sound promising, but whether that depth stays interesting after dozens of hours will depend on how much meaningful content the game offers later on. And while the developers emphasize freedom and flexibility, some players may still end up relying on community builds once stronger combinations are discovered. No matter how many skills a game offers, players have a talent for turning play however you want into spreadsheets. Overall, Sword X Staff looks like an interesting mix of exploration, strategy, and idle progression. The huge world and build variety help it stand out from the sea of AFK games that mostly play themselves. If you enjoy experimenting with builds, collecting resources while offline, and slowly growing stronger without endless grinding, this one looks worth keeping an eye on. But if you prefer manual combat, fast-paced action, or highly competitive gameplay, you may find the heavy reliance on auto battles and idle systems less exciting. For casual players and fans of progression-focused RPGs though, Sword X Staff could be a pretty comfortable game to settle into. And that's all for this overview. Hopefully, it saves you from downloading another idle RPG you'll forget about by next week. See you next time.